Hey everybody, Luigi Fan Quad 1 here once again, and this is every single plush in my Pac-Man plush collection ranked. Let's roll. Start things off with this Toy Factory Pac-Man plush. Now this is the definitive Pac-Man that I have used in many videos. He's a fan favorite on the channel and I always love voicing the big guy. But in terms of plush, he's okay. I like the winking expression, and at one point his hand was actually sewn onto his body so he can give you a big old thumbs up like his official artwork seen here. Personally prefer to have both of his eyes open. I mean, he's gotta have some pretty bad depth perception with only one of his eyes being open at all times. Ow! The felt used for Pac-Man is nice. He's a typical plush you'd see in grabber machines, and the plush lasted for quite a long time, even lasting as long as the 30th anniversary for the series, which in hindsight is kinda cool. Even though he only has one eye open, this plush has got his eye on the prize, straight into the A tier. Yay! Pac-Man has a lot of plush, however most of them are of his original design from the arcade, such as these two Pac-Man who represent the game Pac-Man Battle Royale for arcades. These plush were also made by Toy Factory. These two have polyester for their bodies, embroidered for the eyes, and felt for their mouths, with plastic inside of their mouths to give them that Pac-Man shape. Overall they look fine, simple, but effective. A tier. This Pac-Man comes to us from Bandai Namco Games Incorporated, which has a zipper on the mouth to give off the illusion that he's actually eating dots. Definitely a unique design, and the zipper is a nice little feature that the plush has, though it looks like he's given the Hannibal Lecter treatment if you zip him up like this. I think this one is good. A tier. In the same ballpark, we have this Pac-Man from Palandone Productions, a Pac-Man plush that talks, although this one no longer speaks as the batteries have been drained. This one has felt for the eyes, embroidery around the eyes, polyester for the body, and a more gritty polyester for the inside of the mouth. The plush itself does have a voice box in the back that you can adjust and change out the batteries, but it's kind of a pain to put back inside of the plush. I mean, yeah, it can be done, but sometimes it can go in the wrong way and the plush looks a little deformed. B. Next is the Namco Limited Superior Hall of Honor Pac-Man. This one is a beanbag plush with a almost elastic-like material inside, with a nice polyester outside, felt for the eyes, and embroidery around the eyes once again. This one looks like a roasted pill bug for some reason. I don't know what to make of him. D. Another plush from the Superior Hall of Honor line. Here is another Pac-Man, but this time the inside is harder to close. This one's permanently stuck in the chomping motion, and it seems to be a larger version of this plush, but whereas one is too thick in the mouth, the other is too thin in the mouth. And I'm not a fan of the plastic in here. It's likely chipped, but can't say for certain. He looks better than the smaller one for sure, but I don't know. I just don't like the style for this one either. D. Another similar looking plush is this keychain of Pac-Man, also from Namco Limited, which seems to be a smaller version of this Pac-Man seen here. This one's a beanbag keychain plush and has more flexible movements, and looks a lot better than the other two Pac-Man I just shown, although that's not really saying all that much. C. We have three versions of this Pac-Man puppet from Namco Limited, and this is the best way they could have gone. When you think of Pac-Man, you're always thinking of him eating the dots, like waka 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 waka. Translating Pac-Man into a puppet was absolutely perfect, and all three of these guys look really good. Even if they look kinda silly, at least the small one does. The medium-sized Pac-Man seen here is the best of the three. I like his stupid looking expression in the front. It looks like he ate a lemon, but otherwise he's just a larger version of the smaller Pac-Man puppet. And here is the large version of the puppet. A little size comparison for all three Pac-Man puppets, and a size comparison of the three Pac-Man from the Namco Limited Superior Hall of Honor. Pac-Man puppets are our first S-tier plush. Whee! Next is a Pac-Man plush from Five Below, but we modified the plush to make him look like his appearance in Pac-Land, complete with his hat and his shoes. I like the plastic they use in the shoes to allow him to stand up properly. Overall, the plush looks really nice. A surprising find at Five Below, but hey, he looks neat. Zero complaints about this guy. S tier. Speaking of modified plush, here is Miss Pac-Man. We took a plush of Pac-Man from Toy Factory and modified the plush into Miss Pac-Man. This plush has cardboard in the shoes instead of plastic to allow them to form their shape, with a different type of polyester for the shoes, fleece for the lipstick, and the same polyester material used for the bow, with a little embroidery used for the eyelashes. Overall, the plush is nice, but I wish Miss Pac-Man had some more official merchandise. Miss Pac-Man is landing right in the A tier. But we're not quite done with the good guys just yet. We got these two from Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures, custom plush of President Spheros and Circumference. We'll start with President Spheros first. For a custom plush, he looks pretty fine overall. Looks like a giant green pea with his big old black toupee, his felt used for his mustache, eyes, and, well, everything on his body. He's actually missing one of his gold bands though on his other arm, but otherwise he looks kind of flattened in the face. like someone gave him a high five and they flattened his features, but for a custom, he's still good. Circumference, on the other hand, feels like an upgrade over Spheros. The plush mainly utilizes fleece for the body, with felt used for the hair, for the shoes, and for part of the glove. I love the detail on his left glove. It reminds me a lot of the Nintendo Power Glove. He's actually voiced by Ian James Corlett, if you can believe that, which is kinda crazy in hindsight, that the voice of Mega Man is also the voice of this guy. He also kinda looks like a green pea, kinda looks like Sour Bill. Actually, no, both of them kinda look like Sour Bill from Wreck-It Ralph. C. I want to give Circumference B tier, but at the same time, the level of detail on his glove and also on his shoes, all these little tools in his shoe, they're all really nice. So for that, I'm gonna give him an A. This is Ellie, or Elliptica, from the final episode of Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures. Right when they were starting to talk about Pac-Man's family and where they might be, this character is introduced and then the show just ends. The plush itself looks good, looks relatively good. I like the sparkles all over her hair, I like her little hair clips, and the shoes look good too. Plush even came with this little strawberry purse, which is a cute little accessory. Not many of the other plush have accessories, aside from like Wandy and Ogle, but overall, even if I don't care for the character, I can at least judge fairly when I see a decent plush. I can't believe I'm saying this, but A tier.
Alright, no more pig people. Time we focus on the best character in the franchise with Blink.
You're not supposed to talk here!
Oh, whoops.
Starting off the ghosts, we have Blinky from Toy Factory. Blinky here looks really nice. I love the expression they gave him. The embroidery on his face looks really good, especially for a grabber machine plush. This plush had different sized variants. This one is the 6-inch variant, but there was also an 8-inch, a 12-inch, and a 16-inch. No real complaints, he just looks good. Blinky's getting a no.
No.
S.
Yeah.
Next is the Toy Factory Inky plush. This plush is also fairly solid across the board. No real complaints. His face looks kind of derpy looking. And if I'm not mistaken, his face was actually used for a canceled Pac-Man game. Inky is landing in the S. Here is the Toy Factory Pinky. Looks fine like the other ghosts, but is honestly my least favorite design in terms of the ghost gang here. I don't know, I've never been a fan of Pinky's classic design. I've always preferred the Ghostly Adventures design for the character. A tier. Finally, Clyde from Toy Factory. I know he's winking just like Pac-Man, but with Clyde it kind of works a little more, because Clyde's like, "Hi Pac-Man, look at me, I'm Clyde. You want to go play baseball?" And we throw the baseballs at Blinky's head, and Blinky runs around the field going, "Hey, I'm gonna get you, Pac-Man. Yeah. I think all the ghosts here look really good, and Clyde is no different. All 4 ghosts utilize the same shape, and that is to be expected from the Ghost Gang. A tier. Yay. Speaking of Pinky, here is her Ghostly Adventures variant from Namco America Incorporated. Pinky here is a fairly solid plush across the board. I like the material they used for her, I like her little hair in the back, the embroidery for her face, and, well, the plush just looks good. Looks really good. Don't really have any complaints about this one, just solid plush.
S tier.
Here is our first Pac-Man Big Bad, Lord Betrayus, the catfish, the fire ghost, whatever you want to call him. For a while, Pac-Man needed a recurring antagonist, and Betrayus kind of fit the bill well. I mean, I used to really like this guy, but as time went on, he's not bad, but he's just a joke villain in later episodes. Like in the first episode of that show, he was an actual threat. Betrayus here looks fine. Not a fan of the printed material they did for his chest, and his, gloves are really floppy, as opposed to his actual gloves, which are meant to be metallic. His face looks good. I like the printed material here for his hair and for his tail. I'd rather the printed material be used for the tail instead of embroidery, because I think it looks better, but not so much for the chest. Overall, he looks fine. C. More of the Ghostly Adventures crew. Here is a custom plush of Butler. Butler here uses an elastic type of polyester for the body with some felt used for his upper mustache, his eyes, and his tail. Overall, he looks good. I really like the little bowler hat on top of his head, even if he and his brother are just walking, talking butt jokes. Speaking of his brother, here is Dr. A.H. Buttocks. Haha, very funny writers. I like the material used for the mustache, and I do like the felt used for his eyes, hair, and glasses. The claw is a little floppy, so I will be docking a few points for that, but otherwise he looks good. Both of the Bum Twins are getting a B.
Oh no.
Here is a custom plush of Sue. For the base of this plush, it was modeled off of the ghosts from the Toy Factory line, as seen here. Unlike the Ghost Gang, which use embroidery, these plush utilize felt sewn one on top of the other to save time but still provide a quality looking design. Sue's mouth here was based off of her appearance in the old 1980s Hanna-Barbera Pac-Man cartoon. I like the fleece used for the plush, except for the fact that it can attract a lot of dirt and lint, which I have to pick off the plush quite frequently. But otherwise, looks good. A tier. Here is Funky. Similar situation to Sue. Don't really like how his eyes are spread out, but otherwise looks fine. No real comments to say about Funky except for the fact that he and Spunky appeared in Pac-Mania, where they would jump, and they're basically the commons of that game. B tier. Here is Spunky. For some reason, a denim material was used for the plush, making Spunky look like an article of clothing or some kind of pillow. Not a bad thing. I'm not going to dock Spunky points because of that, but I am going to dock points for Spunky's face being a little off. B. Here's a custom plush of Dinky, made entirely out of felt with some embroidery used for the face and for the hands. Dinky also has a little button on top of his head, which allows for his beanie propeller to spin. Dinky here is also based off of his appearance in the Pac-Man cartoon from Hanna-Barbera. No real complaints except that he's kind of big compared to the other ghosts, and I'm not really sure why if he was supposed to be like the little brother of the Ghost Gang, but oh well, A tier. These two red commons from the Namco Limited Superior Hall of Honor. Oh, what a mouthful. These two plush were probably modeled off of Blinky, though because we already have a Blinky plush as is, I'm gonna call them the commons. They are beanbag plush, but one thing I really like about them is that they're basically giant weebles. They wobble, but they don't fall down. No matter how hard you try. They always get right back up. Every single time. Can't say the same for the pink one, unfortunately. This is a pink common, probably a pinky plush from the same line as Blinky, but I don't know, it looks fine, but it kind of looks like a little squid in the front. We also have this blue common from the same line, probably a plush of Inky. This plush also doesn't stand right back up. The red ghosts laugh in its face, and that's rude. At least with this plush I can understand, it doesn't have beans in its bottom, but the pink one has no excuse. Ooh. Oh. S tier. B tier. A tier. Next is a scared ghost from Toy Factory. This is a ghost before it's about to transform back after Pac-Man's eaten a power pellet. I like the embroidery they used for his little mouth and his eyes. Just a very nice looking plush across the board. A tier. This custom plush is supposed to be of Glitchy from Pac-Man 256. Kinda hard to make a plush out of Glitchy considering how, well, glitchy the character is. So in the end, he kinda looks like a quilt more so than an actual glitched ghost. Or he also looks like a piece of used chewing gum. He does look pretty happy, but I am gonna have to knock down some points for his design. But on the other hand, his design is unique in its own way and it makes him look really cool. But on the other hand, it's not exactly accurate to his in-game design. But on the other hand, I just think he looks really neat. But on the other hand, I strive for accuracy with these plush. But on the other hand, the colors just look well in the front and kind of well in the back. But on the other hand, it does look like a wad of forget it! C tier. Of course, after I was finished filming, I forgot to show Kinky. Kinky here is from Pac-Man Arrangement, and he is a popular character on my show, PlushCon Delore. Kinky is a nerd, and he has the unique ability to fuse with one of the main four ghosts to basically give them powers. Blinky becomes a bull, Pinky becomes a bunny, Inky becomes a cool dude, and Clyde gets fat. Kinky here uses the same model as the Toy Factory ghosts, and looks relatively solid. No issues, no complaints, he's gonna land in the S tier. The final plush before we move back into Pac-Man the Ghostly Adventures, we have two villains who were seen in 2002. Two villains who are major antagonists in the Pac-Man series. One of them being well regarded as a popular antagonist. The other... well, he's popular on my channel. The ghosts in question are Spooky and Wandy. We're gonna start with Spooky first and Wandy second. Spooky is the main villain of Pac-Man World 2, which is widely regarded as one of the best Pac-Man games ever made and even one of the best 3D platformers. Spooky is a fantastic final boss, and he's a good antagonist. I just wish they'd use him more because I really dig his design. His design here with all the armor is actually based on his appearance in a mobile game where he was a boss ghost. If I'm not mistaken, he was called a King Boss, but I could be wrong. Future me, can you put that on the screen, please? Thank you. All the armor is detachable from the plush, but makes the plush look rather naked. S for Spooky. And here is Wandy, the exact opposite of Spooky. Whereas Spooky is menacing and intimidating, Wandy is just sarcastic, cynical, and generally kind of a looks like a giant Stay Puft marshmallow. Wandy is the main villain of Pac-Man All-Stars, a PC exclusive game which actually had in-depth lore in the manual, stating that Wandy captured a bunch of fairies. How someone like this could capture them, I don't know. This wand here actually belongs to a knockoff Mirror Kirby plush that we took from a long time ago and gave it to Wandy, and it just kind of fit. I actually like that the hat constantly falls off because it makes for a fun running joke for the character, always having to go back and put on his hat again and again and again and again. It would be a crime to put Wandy anywhere other than S. Now for the rest of the villains from Ghostly Adventures, starting off with this soldier ghost with a B on his helmet, who we call Spooking Soldier on the channel. The plush uses felt for the entire body aside for the helmet itself, which has felt for the stripe and for the inside of the helmet. I like the scared expression he makes after his helmet comes off. It's like he has no armor left and now he's just a regular ghost. Reminds me a lot of the Greenies from Luigi's Mansion. Even without the helmet he still looks good, and I like the embroidery used on the helmet too. S tier for Spooking Soldier. Here is Ogle, everyone's favorite character from Ghostly Adventures, and by that I mean, oh my god, this guy is criminally underrated. The guy uses fleece for the main body with a lot of felt used for these little spots all over his body, his mustache, his goatee, his mouth, his eye, and basically everywhere else. I am going to knock him down points though for his hat. Unlike Wandy, where his hat was able to stay on and be able to fall off and be a funny little running gag, there's nothing really supporting Ogle's chef hat aside for some buttons on the back, and it's a real pain in the to try and put these rings around the hat and put it back on his head over and over and over again. I like his tail too, makes him look like a giant glob of cotton candy. B tier. Here is a fire ghost from Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures. On the channel, he is known as Carl. He's made from this very elastic type of material. He has felt for the face, although his mouth seems to be falling apart. Time has not really been too kind to Carl. He has a button on his hand which allows him to hold a little fireball, and he also has felt here which is sewn onto his body. Overall, Carl looks good, even if he looks like a little jack-o'-lantern. B. Here is the ghost that lives in the sink, aka the Ice Ghost, a very rare ghost in the Ghostly Adventures show. They're more frequent in the video games, but I thought, hey, if we can have a fire ghost, we should have an ice ghost too. The ghost that lives in the sink, originally named Terry, has fleece and felt for the design, with felt used for the eyes, mouth, hands, and tail, and fleece used for the body. Looks like a giant club for some reason. Looks like a cone. Oh my god. Just get in the B tier. Here is Spectre from the episode The Spy Who Slimed Me. I'm not sure how the hell I remember that name. Regardless, Spectre here looks, well, very nicely detailed. Not really a fan of his hands being stuck in this position. I mean, why not have him make poses? Why must they be stuck in this weird, awkward pose? Bowtie looks fine, his design looks good, he kind of just looks like an upgraded version of the Fire Ghost. The only exception being this little hair on the top of his head and his expression. Otherwise, he looks, fine. C. Here is an original character, do not steal. The character's name is Kiwi, and she was based off of the Green Commons from the Ghostly Adventures show. Same material as Carl the Fire Ghost, with embroidery used for her moles, her mouth, and nowhere else. And I do like the felt used for the eyes, including the little Pac-Man symbol in the eyes themselves. Minor hiccup, only one mole on the one side as opposed to the two moles over here, but otherwise, fine. B tier. Here is the last ghost of the group. This is E-Ghost from the Halloween episode of Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures. E-Ghost here is, well, a ghost of few words. He just looks creepy, he's very eerie looking. I like the hood used on his, oh, what the heck? This is why his hood is sewn onto his body, because what the is that? Put your hood back on. Oh my god, no, put that back on. His lower half isn't doing much better. It's just a giant pole. More like a hammer than anything else. It's... what the are you, E-Ghost? I don't know. Here is E-Ghost's master, Dr. Packenstein. Originally, he came in a jar, and the jar itself was really nice. There's a string on the back of Dr. Packenstein's head that you could attach to the stem of the jar, and it could look like he was floating around in there, with these little limbs here being nerves in his body. He's surprisingly well detailed for being just a brain. But it's just a brain. The full presentation isn't there, and I'd have to get another jar just for him.
So they call you E-Ghost, do they? Well, let me tell you the next letter after E. That letter is an F!
On the one hand, I do like the brain, but on the other hand... he is a pretty mediocre villain at the end of the day, but still looks cool. D. Here is Apex. The only noteworthy thing about him is he's voiced by Colin Murdoch, the voice of Red Menace from the League of Super Evil. Apex is from a group of aliens known as the Pointy Heads because Pac-Man didn't have a big rogues gallery, so the writers behind Ghostly Adventures said, hey, bring on the aliens, and so Apex was born, and... getting a plush of him was kind of a mistake. I wanted to include Apex as a villain in Super Plush Pac-Man, but he's just kind of meh. And the plush itself kind of reflects this. He looks more like a baby toy than anything else, with these legs which you could dangle him from. His head isn't even pointy, it looks like a nose. His arms are floppy, his legs are all stuck together, and he just does not look very good. It makes sense, a blech-looking plush for a blech character.
You may be referred to as Apex, but you, sir, are no Apex Predator. In fact, the only grade you're getting is an F!
Here is a plush of Jean, the Meanie Genie, from the aforementioned episode of the same name from Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures Season 2, Episode 2. The reason I got this plush in the first place is because I wanted more villains in Pac-Man's Rogues Gallery, not realizing characters like Rotom, Spectre Knight, and Odyssey can all fit the bill as well. At least Jean here has a good design when compared to that of Apex. But that isn't saying much. I like all the beads around her body, I like the felt material they used for her. There's nowhere for the plush to really sit up because she doesn't have any legs, only having a tail at the end, but that's fine. I actually think the plush looks way better than her actual character model. I think she was translated better as a plush. B. The rest of these guys aren't Pac-Man characters per se, but they have appeared in other Pac-Man games or are fellow Namco alumni. Starting with this Puka from Dig Dug. This plush comes from the Namco Limited Superior Hall of Honor collection. I really like the material they used for the plush, I like the big old glasses, I like the strap for the goggles. No complaints, it's just good. S. This dragon plush we used for Figar in Pac-Man's Pals, the dragon counterpart to the Puka from Dig Dug. I can't rank him because he's not an actual Pac-Man plush, he's just a dragon, but he does look very similar to Figar, and if I were to rank him, I'd probably put him in A tier or B tier. Here is a Tastemaker's keychain plush of Taizu, aka Mr. Dig Dug. He's very small, he has a giant head, he has a printed material for his body, he's a keychain plush. No further notes. Short on stature, short on patience, C. Here is a Namco Limited plush of Don-chan. Very small, very elastic, but very cute. I like the embroidery used for the face, and I like how elastic the plush is for some reason. Like, he's just really squishy. He's like a little stress ball. A. Here are Dr. Dan and Dr. Dawn from Point Blank. These plush have Velcro on their hands and have plastic inside their mouths to give them a more Muppet-looking shape. They look very silly, but I do really like their designs. Oh yeah, these two plush are also from the aforementioned Namco Limited Superior Hall of Honor. These two are getting an S. This is Dr. Dumb. He's a floppier version of Dr. Dawn. He has Velcro on his hand. See how he runs. Run, Floppy, run. When else am I going to be able to talk about Klonoa? Klonoa here is also from the Namco Limited Superior Hall of Honor. There he is, right on the back. I haven't said this once in this whole video, but I do not like this material used for plush. It withers away over time, as you can see here. Overall, though, I do like the plush. I like the material used for the character, I like the hat up here, I like his little pose here. Overall, I think the plush looks good, aside from the belt. Wish Klonoa got himself another game, you know? Why must they make him as obscure as Knights? In fact, I think Klonoa is even more obscure than Knights. I think he's in the tier of characters like Croc, Vector Man, and Buck Bumble. A tier. Wahoo! Last but definitely not least is the Fangamer / Symbiote Studios plush of the Prince of Katamari. Like with Klonoa, when else am I going to be able to talk about Katamari? I love the Katamari games. They are so much fun to play, I love the music, I love the gameplay, everything about these games just oozes charm, and that applies here with the plush too. Prince here looks absolutely perfect, just like you took him out of the game. The plush has little magnets on the ball, which the prince can then hold on to, which is my only problem with the plush. If you're standing the prince like this, he planks in place. Otherwise, the ball is way too heavy for the prince to hold on to and he drops it. If he's on the ground, this is fine. Or if he's on a shelf, also fine. But if you're holding him in the air, oh. He also does have magnets in his feet. Well, I'll be. No notes. Never mind. I take back everything I said. Oh my gosh. Wow, look at that. Oh my god, he's even hanging upside down. Look at him go. You know what? No notes. This is a perfect plush. S+. So, this has been my entire Pac-Man plush collection ranked. To those who made the custom plush, I'm keeping their names anonymous for the sake of privacy. You know who you are, and all I gotta say is, thank you so much for all your support. Now for the Q&A section. Do you have a favorite Pac-Man game? Pac-Man World 2. I like the original. I also like Pac-Mania. What era of Pac-Man is my favorite? Probably the GameCube era or the new era for Pac-Man. Where do you get the plush? eBay. There's also Mercari. There's grabber machines likely where you can find these plush. Can I have them? The short answer is no, but the long answer is there's many different options and ways to find the plush. In recent years, it seems like Pac-Man's finally gotten on track and people are actually realizing that yes, Pac-Man does have a fan base and yes, we do in fact exist. And on that note, I've run out of stuff to say again, and that's always a common issue at the end of these videos. So, until next time, this is Luigi Fan Quad 1 signing out, saying see you guys later and have yourselves a fantastic day.
What you did, Pac-Man, was stick a knife in my back and kill me.
Okay, Mario, okay. I won't ask for any more games if you do one thing for me. Make me a sandwich.